All right there. Hey, what's going on, people? How we doing? How we doing? How are we doing? Uh, I'm doing okay. We're doing okay today. We got some sunshine. I'm sitting up in some shade right now, just really off the main street here, one of these main streets, uh, and had to get out a little bit. It's been uh, it's been a little ride. It's been a little ride. That's for sure, for sure, for sure. But we're learning a lot. That's the main thing. We're learning a lot. You know, uh, Going over, you know, things that's been at the forefront uh, in life, at this time, and then at the same time, stretching out there towards the future, which is really present. Everything we do every single day is what makes the future. Okay, so from different people's points of views, one might be, and even your own at times. You might be feeling like stuck in like a little lull and everything. And even lullaby, even go to sleep, I turn over and go to sleep quite a bit, but actually it's been the serenity. And who hit it today? Somebody hit it today. Missy Metamystic, Missy. And what she spoke on was that, I think it was Missy, what she spoke on as far as like with all of the incoming, we're going to war and everything, with the outside, with ourselves. We're going to war like this and everything. It can be overwhelming, and everybody has different mechanisms in which to go ahead and we utilize with consciously, and then our body subconsciously takes over also on a lot of things. Because if we've already gone through some things already, then if we're in tune with ourselves, then our intuition and each part of our chakras, whether it be the base chakras, the seven base, and those that are above and beyond, okay, uh, us will go ahead and to include our ancestral lineage, will go ahead and prep the body, prep the mind, give us thought form and how to go ahead and go about it to either paddle, be like the salmon and go up the stream with it, or go against it. I'm sorry, go against it, and or flow with it. Flow with it and everything. Like Pterodoc did. Pterodoc did with the surfboard, big Kahuna. You know, go with the flow and everything. And then even with how he was, how he was, it tripped me out too watching it. How he was out there on the surfboard, everybody cheering for him and everything, cheering for him, and he goes ahead and he breaks out his mirror and everything and starts fixing his face and everything, combing and everything, and then matter of fact, another guy comes up on the surfboard and everything too and asks for his autograph and everything because he's hitting that big Kahuna right there. You know what I'm saying? And because hey, these waves, just like people, they trying to wipe us out. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be in the physical, and definitely, that wave is really a current. That currency and everything. So that energy, you know, in which that we produce, okay, we are able to go ahead and people are able to go ahead, even as you saw the people clapping on them. Look how much energy that everybody had clapping for him. Oh, he's gonna get it, he's gonna do it. That's the energy and everything. So that's the energy in which we come across, and different people, situations, whether it be school again, work, all these different places and everything. Which the reason why you're even hired is for the energy. Whether or not you're on the line, you're a line, on the line and everything, or you are inside of a cubicle and you're developing the uh, processes, documentation forms and everything. You're developing these things for the product and even for the different teams, that you would either be on or be put in charge of. Then all of that right there is also, you know, part of you being with the company and inside of your own company, okay? 606 on the clock, in which you are hired for whatever position you are in. And it's the same thing in life and everything, We hired ourselves to come down here and do this and do this, how we're doing it. We at times may be very, very, very washed, even knocked off the surfboard, stuck with thoughts, and even right now, I just got finished looking at, just before I popped on here, I just got finished looking at, I'm going back through different beginnings to see where people have been, what they've done, how did I come across them, how did, what I don't necessarily want to say collective and everything, but these different currents, the different streets we go down, the different places we meet different people, and we have this energy exchange. And I was listening to that, and I'm talking about refreshing. And what I mean by that is, like, we have people, say we have stores out here, major department stores and so forth. And then we have the Tanitas and, the little shops and everything. I forget what they call them over in Tanzania, but little mom pop stores and everything, where you have on the street. And so every different place that we go operates differently and everything too. And in that process and everything, we still have to go ahead and figure what's going to work best for us. And what I was doing right now, I was listening to, Molly, and the process in which she was talking about writing books. And this was 7 years ago, at least 7 years ago when I looked on her thing. And I was in agreement with everything. Why? Because it is not, don't push ourselves and everything. It's a flow. And we do have to learn that. Okay? A lot of people who are, they have the skills, they have the skill set, they might have the technical skills. A lot of people have the technical skills and everything because, the computer age and so forth, and went inside and did what they did inside the schoolings and went ahead to go ahead and apply them to whether it be the personal life, spiritual life, or business life, and a lot of it is all one, right? Everything should be all one. We should be able to go ahead, reach inside of our back, reach inside of our knapsack, and pull out every single thing that we've gone through and apply it for whose usage? Our own usage. But a lot of people have not done that. And we find ourselves inside of predicaments and companies and relationships in which we run dry. They run dry. I was looking at my lips today, they need to run dry and everything. Make sure make sure they run dry. We're not dry and everything, but it's an ongoing process with that. You know what I'm saying? Because we still do have these people that come by and soak up that energy. Let's take the water out with these direct energy weapons. Okay, we do have them, and at the same time with the actual, you know, direct energy weapons, we have the same type of people who are in lack of the energy, and they utilize this also this thing right here to go ahead and zap, pull you in to their cubicle or home or classroom or book to go ahead and utilize your energy, utilize your story, utilize your knowledge, your uh, even whether it be giving or whether it's actually just extracting. You know what I'm saying? You know how you go into the cooking and everything, and you have these different extracts and so forth. So these extracts, in which we might be utilizing or doing ourselves in order to go ahead and make your dollar bill, make your money, make your fiat currency, as Lady Tanil talked about today. All of it, I guess, it counts. Monopoly money counts like a mugger, you know, for this phase of life that we're in right now. And it's always has been, but it's been more. A lot of the times prior to it was more into the creative, you know, creative parts and so forth. And I believe that's, I'm not going to say for sure, but I think that was when the Renaissance, and when we break down that word again, is Rena, Rena, Isa, ANCE, ANCE. So we got what, 14, and then the conformite urapine. So we see what the confirmation or consummation of the word is summed up to be, you know? And what we do, with that sum, okay, with that sum, again, it's up to us. It is totally up to us, and we have to be very, very, very careful these days. That hey, as we see and we know for sure that regardless, no matter where we're at, this energy extraction is happening, and it with all the different people that I've listened to the last few days, or even weeks and so forth, has been good. It's been good. I've soaked a lot in. Got to got to know. Got to. I think that you actually go back and double check at different points, and different points will go ahead. Again, this is like an entry inside of different books that Molly was talking about, entry and everything. You don't have to write them all at the same time. And it threw me, threw me inside of the actual 1414 on the clock. Damn, 1414 on the clock, and that's where I was going to with it. Because at one section of the time of the writing process, because of incorporating many different aspects, uh, languages, uh, with words, just whether it be the word or just to give you the idea or where it came from, to go ahead and put it inside of a book to where we can have a little bit more understanding, as to plausibly have a little bit more understanding as to where or why we do, where we're at, where we're going, and why we do things. Because for the most part, it is information, information, and see the information has to be looked at and examined for uh, more than a few reasons. And what I mean by that, the information and everything is that of, see, information is really being like in the military, okay? What I mean by that, because it's a military social construct, and so a lot of things are inside these information systems. Whether it be information as we're talking right now, information like that, or information, formation. And so even in the military, you have a dress right. You have they tell you to square yourself away. We have this also in astrology and everything. We even in the square yourself away. I want to digress a little bit because coming across, like I say, even awesome Austin, and uh, our soul source, you know, uh, and even going through Torah, okay, many different religious thought forms, uh, and even back to the astrology, the squaring, of the sun and the moon that's coming up again. That she's pointed out, Ms. Molly pointed out, it's been the first time in 80 years, that the sun and the moon is going to have their own square. And that one right there hit me because sun and moon, the first time in 80 years, well, we just hit, okay, that's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, another octave. Why? Because first of all, it hit the area of the age for my parents and everything, or the people that raised me, I should say, just to be, and they're all in that area, that rage, I guess so, that range of 72 to 78 right now. So for them, a lot of them was free flowing and everything. I don't even know if they knew their sextile, you know, uh, uh, positioning even within a marriage. I don't know if they knew any of that and why things, didn't necessarily work out. And we have these things that, when the planet is too close, you tend to bleed on each other. It's a lot of time, and it'd be a lot of little friction, so you need a little space. You know what I'm saying? So that jumps into the next uh, next zodiac house, and so forth, or constellation. And so, and I'll give you an example. And that right there, what had happened was my last ex-wife, Renaissance, okay, and with the way they set things up, I don't know if they did it on purpose. 197 on the clock, okay, that's see, that is important. That 197 is so important. Why is that? Because this in 2019, it's 19. We count 7 years up. It's right here, right now. Okay, 2025. So that 197 is actually Yeshua. Okay, or and it's given to be Joshua, which is carrying us over into the promised land. So, okay, and in that going into the promised land like that, we had a bunch of whiners. And shit. And so that's the reason why they stayed out there for like 40 years. It was only 11 miles. Okay, according to the story anyway. 11 miles. Stayed out there for 40 years going through it because the whiners, end up. There's a lot of older and younger people that's whining and everything. We want this. We want the meats and everything, the dainty meats we had. We want this. We want that. We want that. Blah, 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 blah. So the whiners and everything had to go ahead and perish. You know, perish inside the field before they went over to the promised land. Well, this is exactly what's happening with us right now. And so if we go ahead with that seven, again, that's the 7 octaves, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 chakras, okay, that's within the body. And we're not even talking about those that are outside, okay, not even talking about those. So all of these things, again, even we still have to look at the astrocartography of that within the body. The astrocartography on that is something like this. Even though he went ahead, this is Awesome Austin. Awesome Austin went ahead and did what? Took 3 months out to go ahead and learn about this astrocartography. To place yourself in the best position, wavelength wise, according to your birthday, birth astrology, to where you will receive the better conjunctions or relationships with people with because of the place that you have moved to. All right? And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that because like I said, I went ahead and went around a little bit myself, and I saw the different wavelengths. I saw clear as day, clear as day. You know, you didn't have to stretch for it. You didn't have to stretch. And this is one of the things that I don't know if that's inside of that teaching yet. I have to go ahead and get a little bit inside of that and everything, the astrocartography. But basing on the experience right now that I've just had right now, basing myself, just the thought form on the experience and everything that I've just had right now, the encounters. All right, what's up, man? What happened was this. Between that of the Sour Source Tarot and that of Awesome Austin. Awesome. You know what I'm saying? Right. A lot of things were going on that were almost like it was crazy because it was cool. It was cool because, my North Node is Capricorn. Okay. I mean, my South Node is Capricorn. And so therefore it was like that right there was like collective reflection. Because he went and collected some data and we reflected it back in, and we were able to go in there and examine some things. And it's beautiful. I do for that right there. I like this thing right here. You know what I'm saying? Because you exchange things, you don't know what you're exchanging a lot of the times, but it depends on you what you're going to get out of it, though. What you're going to put into it. And what he did was, on his way out of San Francisco. On his way out of San Francisco, he was, oh wow, I had a grasshopper on me, and so that was cool because I flinched because I was like, whoa, but that was because the vibration. He felt cool enough she felt cool enough to sit. Wow, that was cool. All right. Make sure no rats are coming right now. Because we'd be cool and everything, but we ain't gonna be that cool. But anyways, so what he was doing right there in San Francisco, he got on there to strut. He got on there to strut like crazy, speaking about, these people, it was not the place for them, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Same song, same person, same place, same experience. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. But it was not getting wasted for him. It was actually pushing up on him. It was pushing up on him in the essence of he saw these, I guess, weren't so fucking cool fucking people. Not even cool, but fucking made him because he didn't fuck with little girls. You know, he didn't fuck with little girls, and they put some shit up on the stairs and everything where he could fuck with little girls and everything, And so, he said sayonara. He said, psh, he took off and he went to that astrocartography stuff. Right? Well, took off to go find himself and the next phase of life. And when he came back and everything, he was telling us about this astrocartography. Then we'll fast forward a little bit, so everybody's getting inside their lane. I guess they with their homies, this, that, you know what I'm saying? Vroom, vroom, past the moon, come back again and say, oh, what's up? Or whatever the thing is, And so he's feeling back in, and he's got this lot of information to go ahead and, a lot of, it was good information at the same time, a lot of word vomit, everybody. And then, we all get to this, get to that stage sometimes where we're where we're at to be where we be, and we, like it back behind the thing, and behind the, we're driving, so therefore we don't want the wind inside of our eyes, so we go ahead, put the shades on and shit, you know what I mean? We adjust, and we still have to go to work, so, those are some of the tools that we must have, even if we, even have our regular sunglasses, whether it be transitional glasses, where they transition and the sun comes in or out and everything, or hey, if you got the job to go ahead and put the glasses on and do the fucking work, it's fucking cool too, you know what I mean? And so then when he gets to this section over here, like I said, I guess he's got to follow some fucking orders, or guess, meet a quota, or fucking get a bonus, and then everybody assumes different roles and everything to go ahead and, or positions, and like he said, hey, a lot of people are out for power, and fucking a lot of Capricorns and everything, it's about that dollar bill, y'all, dollar bill, y'all, which blends, I'm gonna blend this right now, blends back into the story of coming from Mali as far as writing books and so forth. Because this would also happen with my cousin Ruben, who's a Capricorn, and also that of Alicia, I believe, even that of Mariah Rose, who's also a writer, that of Furman, who's also a writer, okay, plausibly that of TJ, who's also a writer. A lot of people in our family are writers. So, as I was going ahead and forming my book, the ex-wife with the Renaissance, she comes back in, and she doesn't necessarily plausibly know what to do with it, but she knows that, hey, she knows to a certain degree, we got to go ahead and get people to go ahead, and certain people already have certain portions, because they are the videos that I first started out with, on YouTube, and 3 different channels I had. First started out with "They're Gone," because of the information that I was sharing at that point in time. Going to the libraries and so forth. Uh, Even at home, prior to the library, going back and again, like learning Ge'ez, from the Ethiopian side, which actually the letter Li is inside of it. So, and when I went to go do there, it was a glitch in my program to where my was it Microsoft or whoever, representative of Microsoft, comes on and says, "Hey, you have a bug, and you must pay $400 in order to get the bug out." So that happened to the Mac. Was it a Mac? It's the i computer, Apple computer first. That happened to that one. Then when I'm inside the library, it's happening. Now it happens to my Dell, to where I'm writing a book and everything, and I'm saying this right here in conjunction with money. As power and money and so forth. What I was talking about with Austin and the astrophotography. I'm saying this in conjunction with all of this because it is current. It's current, and it is this currency that people do not have, or they're just lazy and have even mapped out your birth chart to go ahead and right off the coattails of it. And even in doing so, sometimes you'll come to a halt. You'll come to a halt where you have to reassess everything. You have to reassess everything and be thankful. Be thankful for every single, what we might call a mishap or adventure or conjunction or preferably sextile, every trine that we've had, like I said, she had to go ahead and triangulate myself between that of Alicia and then that of Benicia Scott. She's the one who went ahead and came in and pulled everything down with the Colorado screen for their section of, because even though she's operating inside of the Brown family, right, unit, she's also triangulating within her own family to go ahead and her sorority, I'm not gonna say all of them was lesbians, but hey, they undercover. But within her group also, she had to go ahead and do that to make some funds and everything there too. So they extracted some information also at that point in time. So all of these things, we have to go ahead and be aware of, even as we continue on in our path. As of right now, so getting back to the elderly people, you know what I'm saying? So what we have is a lot of elderly people, and who do not want everything to change. And then, for those who went ahead and, do what you do to go ahead and stay in the mix, and what I was saying like that too, with staying in the mix, do what we do, is that because I did go back and you know, and I saw, but you a lot of things too are for entertainment purposes only, even for those who are pretty much we're learning along the way, so we have to go ahead and let people, you know, be who they are, say who they are, be who they are, because we see what we see. All right, we learn what we learn. You know, by experience. It's not coming out of a textbook. You know, so it's by experience. You know, ride the motherfucking kahunas. You know what I mean? And so, you know, even though I went back, I always go back and check in a general sense, but I hadn't been not like I used to, not like I should have, you know. And so when you check on different people, you know, and see where they were, you actually can see why they are where they are right now. All right. And I pointed out a few, you know, we had the few that did the top ramen blow up, you know what I mean, within the YouTube community and everything. You know, I'm talking about having very little fucking time, you know, time and grade, but all of a sudden, you know, they bloop 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 bloop. You know, I did point that out there with uh, even when utilizing Molly's as the prime and comparing it to Jay Hadina with 1 year and 220K subscribers, and 7 years, 7.7 years. Oh, and I'm sorry, only 177 videos or something like that, right? But then 7 years and 1.7K videos, and only having 183. So that blew me away. Then also I went in today, and you know, I showed brother Kyron, and he already knew, you know, that Kyron, I got a cousin named Kyron, you know, spelled with a K, and Kyron actually means son, as opposed to the cold, you know, Chiron that travels between that of Uranus and Neptune with the astrology and so forth, you know, and only being young to 1977 I believe is when it was discovered, you know, and so, but we still see the, you know, the top ramen stuff, the top ramen trail inside of there were his, unless he erased it, because Chiron has only been on there for like a year, and he got seven. What do you got? Let's see, 79. He has 80,000, 79.5 for 1 year. Metamystic, she has 3 years, right? And I'm sorry, and he has 1,000 videos. That sounds about right. 1,000 videos 1 year. Okay, so with 3.8 videos, we have Metamystic. You're missing, right? And she has been there 3 years, and she had to go through her brown stage for a little while. So, you know, for a little while, I didn't go ahead. I didn't go get into the content just yet, but she had to go for a whole year, I believe, almost year or 9 months before, you know, she came on to brown into different colors and everything. You know, as Chiron was talking about, hey, he had a teacher, he wore black the whole time. Or he say he or she, but they wore black the whole time, and then all of a sudden they were out there and they were having all kinds of different colors. You know what I mean? So we see these different processes, you know, but where she's at, with 3 years, 3.8 uh, on the videos, right? And she's only at 42K as opposed to 80K. So he in 1 year he has 80K. 1 year and 80K. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and so we see, or we don't see, you know. And so going back to the stores and everything, going back to the stores. So even going into every betrieb or job or adventure and everything, you're gonna have your street vendors, 3-card Molly and shit. And so same thing inside of this tarot word is basically like 3-card Molly and shit. You know what I'm saying? And not to say Molly, but wow, I didn't even think about that. But it is like a 3-card Molly. Okay, Molly is, she's put in some fucking damn work, and I'm looking at this right here, because I'm speaking on it because out of all this time right now, and I've come across quite a few, and I'm not sure. Sometimes you're not sure if the arrow is pointing north or south, east or west. You know what I'm saying? And we all have to go in all directions at many different times. But let's just put it like this: the bang for your buck, when just sitting and listening to what people are talking about and what they say and what they're, like again, what is a lot of word vomit, gymnastics, flipping of the tongue, hand, this, that. I mean, it was like one of the last ones and everything with cousin Jin Jin. I had looked on one of them and everything, and it was like a 1-card flip, And she reminded me too of fucking what's his brother, the Vato man, brother Vato 888, the Vato local brother, because a lot of times, you had a glitch, and hey, it's hard to be like, So she had that glitch. I mean, clear, but the way she did it was like, fuck, do that shit over. I mean, just do it over. What the fuck? But when we get so sloppy, you know when you get sloppy. Okay? Golly. Sergeant Carter. When you get sloppy, I respect those who, even though they might have the verbiage and everything to flip-flop, hey, over here, run you over here, and you're left on that side. They might have, but they show you the cards. That's off to them, okay? Because they're not just a regular 3-card Molly type of a person. You know what I'm saying? And Lynn's like that. You don't necessarily see all the cards, Lynn. Either you don't necessarily see all the cards, but definitely don't see all the cards with Chiron either. He does a little bit better of a job, putting up there, and it's not to knock any of them on anything. I'm just saying as far as from the optical view and from the optics, it's a lot of, we see how the street 3-card Molly get up inside the collective. So that's what it is. It's a collection agency. It's collective. It's really like a church. You just sending a motherfucking plate around, like the church. You send a collective. You know what I'm saying? And so however you have that good, that sleight of hand, verbiage, word vomit, all those different types of techniques, you bring your slickery and present it as it is, or your sexy, sexy mama, you know what I'm saying? Big Papa. Big Papa. Big Papa, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga hit me there. She made me finally fucking hit it. So that's the reason why. That's the reason why Eugene didn't want me to call him Papa, because that shit was given to somebody else. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was it. So he must fucking laid his hat. But